She worked silently in the back of the restaurant, unnoticed by most. Her name was Amina, a slim woman with tired eyes and a quiet presence. Every day she arrived early, swept the floor, washed dishes, chopped vegetables, and always stayed late. She barely spoke, always respectful, never in anyone's way. The other staff didn't know much about her. She never asked for anything except one thing. At the end of each night, she would gently ask if she could take some leftover food. Not the fresh food prepared for staff, just the scraps and extras that would be thrown away. She packed it carefully, wrapped in foil, tied up in plastic bags, and left quickly into the night. Some staff would laugh behind her back, making fun of how she held on to old food like treasure. Some said she was too poor to feed herself. Others thought maybe she had stray animals to feed, but nobody asked, nobody cared to know the truth. Mr. Quaim Mensa, the owner of the high-end restaurant where she worked, was a wealthy and powerful man. Sharp dressed, always on time, always serious. He built his empire with discipline and didn't tolerate nonsense. His staff respected him, but they also feared him. He never paid attention to the low-level workers. To him they came and went, until one day he overheard the chef talking about Amina. Every night she begs for leftovers. The chef laughed. Like she's taking gold to the bank. Quaim raised his eyebrows. She takes the food home every night, the chef replied. Never eats here, just packs up and leaves. Quaim said nothing, but later that night, something about it stuck in his mind. He stayed behind after closing and waited. As always, Amina packed her small containers, bowed her head, and left quietly. Quaim followed her, keeping a distance. She walked far past busy roads, across dusty streets, through small alleys, deeper into the poorer parts of the city. No taxi, no bus, just her feet and a determined pace. After nearly an hour, she reached a rundown compound at the edge of the neighborhood. He stopped a few meters away, hidden by a tree. Amina opened a rusted gate and stepped inside. A faint light came on inside a tiny room. Quaim moved closer and peered through the cracks in the wall. What he saw made him hold his breath. Inside the small room were 7 children, sitting on the floor, smiling up at Amina. Their eyes lit up when they saw her. She kissed each one on the forehead and began handing out the food she had brought. Carefully, lovingly, she made sure each child got their share. Some of the food was not enough, so she gave her own portion to the smallest child. They laughed as they ate, grateful and joyful. Then she turned to the corner of the room where an old woman lay on a thin mattress. Amina sat beside her, wiped her face with a cloth, and slowly began feeding her by hand. The old woman barely moved, but looked into Amina's face with peaceful eyes. Amina smiled back, whispering something soft that Quaim couldn't hear. Quaim stood still, the sounds of the city fading into silence. He had never seen anything like it. This woman, who barely spoke a word at work, was keeping an entire home alive on scraps. His heart tightened. That night he didn't sleep. The next morning he called Amina to his office. She looked afraid, thinking she was in trouble. She sat quietly in the chair, hands folded, eyes low. "I followed you last night," he said calmly. Her face went pale. "Sir, I didn't take anything without permission. I only take what you allow." "I know," he replied. "I saw everything." Tears welled up in her eyes. She opened her mouth, but no words came. He leaned forward. "Who are those children?" She took a deep breath, her voice trembling. "Orphans, some lost their parents to sickness, some were abandoned. One of them I found sleeping outside a shop. He was crying and hungry. I gave him bread. He followed me home. Then more came. And the old woman, my mother, she doesn't remember me most days. She gets confused, but she remembers the children. They calm her." Quaim said nothing for a moment. Then he stood up and walked to the window. He had built businesses, opened restaurants in 3 countries, bought houses and cars, but he had never felt the way he felt now. He turned back to her. "Why didn't you ever ask for help? I didn't think anyone would care," she whispered. "And I didn't want pity, I just want them to eat." Later that evening, he called a meeting with all the staff. Everyone gathered, wondering what was happening. Quaim stood in front of them and spoke. "You all know Amina," he said. "But none of you truly knew her. Last night, I followed her. What I saw changed me." He told them everything about the children, about her mother, about how she used scraps of food to keep them alive. There was silence. Some of the staff looked down, ashamed. Then he turned to Amina and said, "You are not just a worker, you are a blessing." He handed her an envelope. Inside was a letter confirming school scholarships for all the children. Full tuition, books, uniforms. Then he handed her another paper. "I bought the compound where you live. You don't have to pay rent again, ever, and everyone else in those rooms. They stay for free." Amina covered her face with her hands, tears flowing freely. The staff began to clap. Some of them cried. This same chef who laughed at her now stood quietly, unable to meet her eyes. "And one more thing," Quaim continued. "We are opening a new kitchen, one that will feed people every day for free. Amina will manage it. She knows what hunger feels like. She knows how to feed love." From that day on, the restaurant was known not just for fine dining, but for heart. The community kitchen grew. Dozens came each day for a hot meal. The children went to school. Amina's mother began to smile more often. And Amina, quiet, gentle Amina, became a light for everyone who crossed her path. Quaim changed too. He visited the shelter often. He started speaking more kindly. His employees began to respect him not just for his money, but for his heart. Because sometimes it takes one woman, one quiet act of love to open the eyes of the world. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this story with someone who still believes in kindness. And remember, real heroes walk among us every day, in silence, with love.